All right, what's going on, everybody? Thank you for stopping out for another episode of the podcast live. Apologize for last week. I know we kind of chopped it up on a different day from the normal routine. Feels good to be getting back into the groove. Definitely in the realm of tiredness. I do apologize for the lack of professionalism in my appearance and uh, energy, perhaps. I am we got a lot of things cooking, folks. Appreciate everybody hanging tight here for a hot minute. We've got just a lot of contacts, support from states all around us, and I mean, even not around us, businesses in Wisconsin. We've got a pretty unique opportunity here um, to focus. It's a lot. Uh, I'm keeping y'all where I can. We gotta hold our cards here for a minute. Appreciate everybody. Um, it's good stuff. Trust me. It's just not a lot of sleep, but that's okay. This is what I've been waiting for. Is hey, I'm a resource. I'm here to help. Put me to work. So we're trying to figure it out. Appreciate your patience. Randy's in the house. My man, Randy. Been doing this for what 20 years. Started with Wisconsin Normal. Appreciate you, Heather. Oh, guaranteed to be here as well. Danny, you guys don't mess around. I appreciate you guys. A new baby does that right, and I am now an uncle. Super excited about that. Shout out to my sister and my first niece or nephew, but it happens to be a niece, Bryn Lee. So shout out to her. Hope everything is going well over in the hospital as you rest up. Heath in the house too. Before we get rolling, I want to give a quick shout out to the folks who make this thing possible. Marcus, hold on. No. We're going to call it Marcus G. Marcus Greenyo doesn't know we're doing the podcast, so we're going to answer the phone. Hey, Marcus, is it cool if we give you a holler back, bro? Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm just kidding, buddy. I love you, buddy. I'll check you soon. Lots of stuff going on in Wisconsin, I'm telling you. Good things for cannabis. Good things for cannabis. No, Ignite Dispensary, thank you for making this possible, where we have this platform to talk to the people of Wisconsin and to answer the questions that they have. We wouldn't be able to have the reach that we do if it wasn't for you guys. So please make sure you give Ignite a chance checking out their shop, especially Manitowoc. They got the Canna Lounge there. It's super dope. Play Mario Kart, whatever you want. They got the seltzer drinks. Awesome folks. Milwaukee, Spooner, they're all over Wisconsin. So please check them out. Give them your patronage and some business. They are awesome. Derek's in the house too. Thanks for swinging by, brother. Appreciate you, sir. All right. Super excited for tonight's show. It would be an understatement. We have had we've had the mushroom discussion pop up here or there. But not only are we going to be talking a little more about some psychedelics and that kind of stuff on tonight's show, but this goes back to, in my opinion, the biggest, I hate saying biggest because that's so generic, the most important part of cannabis freedom, and that is getting cannabis to the veterans and the people suffering, pain, elders, and these folks are, a voice, a vehicle of education, and just awesome folks helping veterans get access to relief without having to go to a pharmacist and get, oodles amounts of prescriptions. So Mark says, my bad. Hey, it's all good, brother. All good in the hood. Let's get these guys in here. I'm going to quit yapping. We've got Greg Meyer, related to Meyer Theater. Yeah, no. Oh, yeah.
No, sir. No, sir. But thanks for having
me. He doesn't
me
own it yet, but he's gonna next week. You guys watch. And then we've got CJ in the house. CJ, how we doing, sir?
Hey, good evening, everybody. Doing well.
Good. Hey, we're gonna do something a little fun here. We're gonna have CJ. Let's have you just tell us a quick little snippet about Greg, and Greg that is gonna introduce CJ. Let's kind of switch it up here. Let's see what we got. Put you guys on your toes.
So, Greg is an Army veteran. He is the director of Project Triangle. He's also a cannabis enthusiast, so they kind of go hand in hand. I've known Greg for a little while now and got to meet him a few times, and he's kind of a brother from another mother. We really seem to get along. We love disc golfing, and we love healing veterans through alternative medicine and finding our health and healing through alternative medicines. Awesome. He's the mushroom guy.
He's the mushroom guy. All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. We've got questions for him. No, Greg, That seemed like a pretty nice introduction. Let's see if you can one up CJ. And also, real quick, Eric, anything I can do for you guys to help get a message out there. That is what I'm for. And even if I'm tired like this, just Beans, I'll give you the podcast, run it for a night. I don't care. I'm here to help, guys. I appreciate what you guys are doing, and I'm glad to be able to help you guys get your message out there. So, all right, Greg, let's hear it, man. Let's tell me, CJ. I need to be sold on this guy. I don't know.
Yeah, that was pretty hard to follow up, but I'll go ahead and start with CJ is also a fellow Army veteran. Like he said, him and I are both kind of cut from the same cloth. We both have the same passion for healing veterans. He's the cannabis wizard. Every time I have questions about cannabis, I go to CJ, whether it's pest or nutrients, anything like that. I go to CJ for all my cannabis questions. So he's the biggest cannabis guru I know. He'll explain it to you in a fashion where it's easily adaptable to anybody. He can adapt to any way you would like to perceive information. So he's great with cannabis. He's an avid disc golfer, which I myself am a disc golfer. So it's nice to find a fellow veteran that is as passionate about other things like disc golf as I am. And I know that he has a lot of passion just for healing veterans, and he's always available. That's the biggest thing that I know about CJ is I can reach out to him at any time I need to for anything, whether it be a question or just to chat about anything going through my head. And he's a great friend and a leader of the pillar in the community.
Jeez. All right. Wow. Well, that's tonight's show, folks. We got some of the dopest people around. Get in touch with them. That's all right. Cool. CJ, I'm going to have to talk to you probably not after this because I'm probably going to go right into bed. And I'm not a guy to complain about sleep. Like, I just am legit that tired once in my life. Where realistically, though, tomorrow, please make sure we touch base. We're working on behind the scenes right now. The Wisconsin, oh gosh, so many acronyms in the last couple of days and shit. Wisconsin Cannabis Safety Alliance. Right. And we got voices from nurses to producers to retail stores to activists to farmers. I need you there if you're open to discussing a way to help us, because I want to make sure the veterans are tapped into. And we're in the very early stages of figuring out how we want to do this. And maybe it's not you, but let's talk and you tell me who I need there, because it sounds like you're the guy who can help me make sure that we're not forgetting something when it comes to that. So appreciate you guys stopping out on the show. We got Nate in the house. We got a lot of comments trying to keep up with it here. Got a lot of people. Thank you guys for your service. I am with them in that 100%. Let's go. Balanced Veterans Network and BVN Project Triangle. Let's go. Let's get into it, guys. Got a few questions here. Always put some feelers out with the followers on who we're going to have on, and they submit some questions, that kind of stuff. So let's talk a little bit about Balanced Veterans Network. Can you guys share, maybe kind of start with, and Chance did a good job too, but we'll have a lot of new listeners on tonight's episode. So I feel like we would be doing a disjustice if we didn't. Real quick, just kind of touch on the mission and the vision behind the BVN and how it aims to support veterans.
Well, I'll start with this if you want me to. Balanced Veterans Network, the goal and the mission is really to provide a safe space and community for veterans to access alternative modalities of healing where we have been failed by the VA. And this isn't specific to just veterans. We all are. So we advocate for veterans to have this access to medicine of all kinds. And really just the biggest key is the community, because peer support. And that's something that when you come away from the service, we're about 7% of the total population, active, reserve, and veteran. So it's a very small minority, and we're losing those numbers very quickly because the greatest generation ever, our World War II and our Vietnam era veterans, Korea War veterans, are passing at a rapid rate. So there's just a few of us, and we get isolated, especially when it comes into this type of medicine. After being in service, some of these guys for 20 years and being told it's the devil's lettuce, stay away. And you were the kind of guy that we all kind of, people fell in line. We follow rules. That's what we did. That's how we succeeded in our careers, and we're okay with it. So to try this medicine, the stigma, and we ended the stigma for so many veterans by being vocal. And that's the biggest part of it, in my opinion. And that's our goal and our mission, to make sure all these veterans have this access to the medicine.
Well, that's awesome, man. And I'm going to pull up a little something here. So not related 100% to veterans, but understanding, like that is your, in the most truest and purest form, that's your family, right? The people that have served you. I can't even imagine that bond, because I'm a super passionate guy. So knowing other people that also have served, like that's got to be just a real feeling. And to understand, it's hard to figure out how to approach them, knowing what you know, but knowing how they were portrayed this image of something that and it's not just a quick portrayal. Like, here, this is what it is. See you. No, like this is what they've been told for such a long time. And it's just it's not their fault, right? Like they thought they were being told the right thing for the longest time. And I had a similar situation with my dad. He was an avid, what are you doing with that? Why are you talking what are you just doing working cannabis? When I got into the industry, it was like he respected it, but it wasn't like, oh, cannabis, yeah, that's cool. It was still like, I don't know, I'm not using that. That's not, but shout out to him yesterday, just to kind of share real quick where our journey has gotten. I thought this was really cool, guys, and I think you'll get a little feel it a little bit. So he shot a buck yesterday, and he wore the Let's Legalize Wisconsin shirt when he shared the picture with me, and it spoke volumes to me, because he's not a guy that wears something like you or I, right? Like, I rep my shit. That's me. And for my dad to throw on the Let's Legalize, that was just a big step for me in our personal journey. So I can only imagine, trying to figure that out, and then the sense of accomplishment when you get people to come across, because I'm assuming it's a lot of work, but you do get people that come across to understanding the benefits of cannabis, right? Is that kind of the rewarding part of the job?
It's the biggest reward for myself, and that's what's kept me going, because I have I used cannabis prior to service, and I knew I needed to get my act together, and it's a family tradition with serving. So I knew when to, mind my P's and Q's, and I went and did my time. But when I got medically retired, I fell into the depression zone, alcohol, drinking, drugs, and cannabis really saved me from all that. And having that connection to the veteran community and knowing how powerful that medicine is, and bringing it to people with the experience that I gained using it when it was just recreational, getting weed wherever you can, not actually having the opportunity to use it medicinally, and sharing that information. That's what really brought me to Operation 1620, and what has kept me going for over 5 years in this role as the head of 1620, and just keeping the veterans informed and educated and getting them access.
That's awesome. And I think I'm curious if you're in well, I can just tell, like, the vibe that it's very much not a job for you in doing that, right? Like, that's why, like, I will run myself into the ground doing this advocacy thing, because there's too much to this to just let it be, oh, well, I've got my recreational use figured out, I'm cool with that. The people who need it, or I feel deserve it, they'll have to figure it out on their own. For me, it's not even a job. It's just, that's how I was raised. You see something's wrong, you try to help that situation, right? Like, I don't know. A lot of passion with you guys. This is awesome. I'm glad you are the kind of people that are in the roles you are, which, directors and of these things, because that's how we get this thing moving forward. Is, it all starts with, why are you here? And I can feel that this is not just a job. So appreciate you guys. Excuse me. Let's see what else we got. And as always, guys, if you got any questions for these guys, drop them in the comments. We'll work them in as we go. Excuse me. I don't know what the heck's going on in there. We've got, looks like Joan has the link to balanceveterans.org. Awesome. Thank you for dropping that there. Please check that out in the comments if you'd like to check out a little more about them. We've got a question here for Greg. Greg, as the director of Project Triangle, could you tell us about the goals of the project and its impact on veterans' well-being?
So Project Triangle is very much in its infancy. We're still kind of in the drawing board stages, so to speak, but we are functioning, and we are doing what we can right now with the program to help veterans and help them with the source of healing. But my vision for the program really is to provide veterans with trusted knowledge and information and resources related to alternative healing and medicine and therapies. because we're aiming to address there's a lack of accessibility, reliability, and safe practices right now in this space. It's kind of an untapped into healing space. There's really never been freedom to practice this medicine. So a lot of this stuff is grandfather knowledge and things, so to speak, to where there is no written documents. So what we're trying to do is resource from a lot of reliable resources, people that have knowledge in the space, people that have done the science and research, and team up and work with them and try to make a program that is ideally targeted to heal and open up the door for alternative therapies, and just make a safe space, community for veterans where they feel safe talking about these medicines and asking questions, because that's the biggest thing, is asking questions and knowing your medicine before you really get into it. Learn, do your research, and don't just step into it thinking that it's going to do the work for you and heal.
Right. It's a journey in the best way possible, because it's such a unique, right? It can be different. The same dose can affect so many, such a variety of people differently. Real quick, when you were talking about, the difficulties that we have trying to get this information to the people, it's something that I've been doing a lot of research and just making sure I can try to pull as much data for a few of the projects I'm working on right now. And this actually, I was looking, I couldn't find how to describe or how to search for what I was trying to do. And I happened to stumble across something on LinkedIn today. I feel like one of these big podcast shows where they like, hey, can you pull up that chart? And then the guy finds it, but I'm doing the work. So if anybody out there wants to be that guy, that'd be dope. But check this out. This is crazy. This is mind blowing. I knew it was going to be a big number. I did not think it was going to be this big. Add to stage. Let's zoom in on that. Control plus. Whoops, wrong zoom. Zooming in on the camera. So, did you know that even if you combined every cannabis company in the U.S. for one market cap, their total market cap wouldn't break the top 20 U.S. pharmaceutical companies? The $30 billion cannabis market is smaller than Moderna, which ranks number 20 on the U.S. pharmaceuticals market size. Add in all of hemp, and you still don't make the top 15. These are not markets, but individual companies. I mean, this is just mind-boggling amounts of money to think, how big of an industry cannabis is, right? Huge. I mean, insane. And you wouldn't even be putting in a dent into these juggernauts of money. And it's unfortunate, but, you see it time and time again in society. These businesses get used to making that much money. They're going to do what they got to do to keep making that much money. Unfortunately, that's a thing. Do you guys often run into, do you get people coming to you like, hey, I'm looking to narrow my list of prescriptions, or, hey, I'm concerned about my list of prescriptions, or, I mean, I'm sure there's a variety of different, means that this can happen. What's the most common way, though, that you guys get approached for people asking or seeking these kinds of questions? Is it a little more I don't know. I was just curious. Is there something that's a more common approach that you guys get, out of curiosity?
I've had people ask me what entheogens or psychedelics could replace in their array of medications, and I usually tell them that it can replace 90% of those, depending on what they are. It really is all case by case. So with psychedelics and entheogens, it's going to be a lot of your SSRI medications and things like that. I'll let CJ take over on the cannabis, but I already know that I have replaced all narcotic pain medications myself with cannabis. So I don't have to rely on anything but cannabis for pain. And that's wonderful, because I'm able to function with my 2-year-old son and live day to day.
That's awesome. Well, and real quick, we got a couple of folks, listeners. I don't know if they're on this episode or not, but it's so awesome to me to hear people say, hey, Beans, just want to let you know I'm going into surgery. And I told them I don't need that heavy. I just took a gummy. I'll be fine. Just to think of how much their insurance is going to get charged for that pain med and what's all in that pain. Yeah, it's just, man, this is just, I'm so glad you guys are doing this for veterans. This is fucking awesome. CJ, can you talk a little bit about the cannabis side?
Yeah. So to follow up on what Greg said, these medications are kind of case by case. And my first thing I want to tell everybody is there's a lot of tools in the toolbox, and cannabis is one of them. And we may be able to replace several of the other medicines you're on. And some of them you may permanently need to take. It just depends. So I was on, I think, 9 medications, pain, and like nerve pain blockers, and then pills for my mental status. Right. So cannabis allowed me to come off all of those. And it's how you approach the medicine and how you use it. And it takes work. None of these natural remedies are just, you're not just taking them to get high. You're getting high, and that is enjoyable. But to really come away from the medicine, it can take some work, and it can take some adjustment. And it's a path that we have to walk each person with individually and kind of use case by case. And to chime in on what you said about pharmaceuticals, they use fear-mongering tactics, like we're going to take some money away from them. There's enough slices of pie for everybody enough pie for everybody to have a slice. And these natural remedies, again, it's only one of the tools in the toolbox. Some of these pills and modern medicine are the reason why we're all alive today. And we can't hate big pharma for that. We just need to hold our elected officials accountable for what is the best practice, and that's to give us the option. And when we have those options, we can lead a healthier life. And what I've seen with people, they start with cannabis, and they might go into the mushrooms if need be. And then the next thing you know, they're removing one of the biggest poisons in my mind away, and that's the alcohol. And that's something that was very normalized with our time in service. And it's okay to drink. I'm not saying you shouldn't. Find your balance. A lot of us, especially as we go hard into the cannabis and into the mushrooms, we find that we no longer have a place in our life for alcohol, and it leads us to healthier living. We find things like kombucha. We find that exercising again and getting out and being active really just changes your whole mindset. And I think that's the power of the natural medicine, is it gets you back outdoors. And when you have contact with nature, it unlocks super healing potential, especially if you have the ability to plant these seeds in the ground and cultivate them yourself.
Sure. No, it is, I just did a little home grow in Michigan, where it's legal, of course, where tending to that plant for that long and understand, like, it wasn't like, oh my God, this is my girlfriend, I'm going to marry her. It was like, it wasn't this kitty little thing, but it was a true appreciation for watching this thing grow and, understanding, learning about trichomes and the sticky, it was just a beautiful process of like, man, I got to chop this down. And then, I don't know, it's just, not to get like too weird about it, but it's to see the fact that you can plant it and harvest it, and it helps you. I don't know. That just seems really like something that should be around. It has been around for a long time, but should be normal. It's pretty neat. It's your child, says Heather. There you go. Yeah, it's like a little kid. Joanne says, is it Joanne or Joan? I'm terrible with names.
That's Joan.
Joan. Sorry, Joan. Joan says there's a therapy in growing your own medicine. Hell yeah. Eric says, it's sad how we are one of 5 states that doesn't even allow cannabis medically. Too much money would be taken away from the Tavern League, right? It's crazy. Normal in our house, says Heather. That's what I like to hear, Heather. Question 4, I think this would go a little more towards Greg, but let's see how it rolls out here. What role does microdosing and macrodosing play in veteran healing, and what are some benefits veterans have experienced from these approaches?
So that's, again, going to be kind of like what you're looking for to get from the medicine. It's kind of a use by use case. I found, we'll start with microdosing. Microdosing is really good for things that people have to tackle on their everyday life problems. So people have anxiety, depression, they're stuck in a cycle, stuck in a rut. And I find that microdoses really help people that are looking to, first off, not get high from the substance, because when you're taking a microdose, you're not getting any sort of physical or mental effects. Well, you're getting a mental boost. You're going to be really happy. And a lot of times I've had people ask me, they're saying, Greg, well, I took my microdose today and I didn't feel anything. That's fine, because it's doing its work. The microdose is kind of doing work behind closed doors, so to speak. And it's a medicine that you take daily for a while, and it compounds just like any other happy pill, so to speak. But a microdose just allows you to maintain a homeostasis, I would like to say, on your day-to-day routine. Now, people that are dealing with really deep down traumas, some more complex PTSD, or just childhood traumas, or just trying to work through some really heavy things, really heavy brain fog, I would suggest a macrodose, something where you're taking a larger dose, sitting down on a couch, having somebody there to talk to during your experience, and to take notes. During all of my macrodoses, I take notes, because that's where you're learning. You're doing a lot of healing, deep healing during macrodoses. And so I always recommend a macrodose for somebody that's really looking to move mountains, so to speak, or dig down deep and really find what the root cause of some of these issues that we're dealing with are. And that's where the microdose comes into play over the macrodose. And so to speak, on the healing of it, it's a prolonged healing. It's lasting healing. It's not the current medications we're getting now is more like a Band-Aid, and we're doing microdose and macrodoses, and we can do that once a month cycle for microdoses, or we can do a macrodose. Heck, it's been almost 2 years now since I've done a macrodose, and I still feel the lasting effects of that. I don't feel like I need another one. So we're not having to continually do this medication every day just to survive and just to maintain homeostasis. Once you go through one of these therapies and one of these cycles, it's lasting effects. It's not just a Band-Aid. It's actually solving some of the issues we have. And some of the times we don't ever have to go back to the medicine. People are realizing that, wow, I haven't used mushrooms, or I haven't used ayahuasca or something in 5 years. And that's where it really shows its impact, is we're not having to continually use this medication every day, which personally myself, I hate taking pills. So I don't want to take something every day.
Exactly. Nope, I felt that. And I think that, you would hope that's what most people want to do. Nobody wants to take that stuff. And the fact that I think that's really powerful. Well, it is powerful for me to know that somebody as educated on psychedelics as yourself. So, it's not like you're just kind of out here kind of guessing at some stuff, not to say you necessarily know everything about it. I feel like it's like cannabis too, where we're, we have a good understanding, but it's such a complex thing, right, that we're still always learning. But the fact that you macrodosed the last 2 years ago and still feel the effects, you being somebody who this is your passion and you're knowledgeable about, and like you totally are engulfed in this, and it's lasted that long for you, that to me is super powerful as to the potential that again these plants have, or these fungi. It's that's moving, man. We got Nick in here. Robert says worked for him. Right on. We've got a question here had popped up real quick while we're on the topics of the psychedelics here. Comment we had was there's a lot of stigma around the use of psychedelics. How do you guys work to reduce the stigma and promote safe, informed use? And after you touch on that, CJ, if that's something that you have kind of a way to work with folks who are on that, again, that kind of usually typically that older generation, is there a specific approach that you try to like, hey man, I get it, don't worry about it though? Like, it's like, what's your route to kind of educating people that kind of way?
So my approach to ending the stigma is, like Greg touched on a minute ago, is people be taking a microdose and like, oh, I don't feel it. This is not a hallucinogenic experience. That is not the approach of the microdose. That's not the intent of the microdose. It is essentially like taking a Xanax. You're gonna be happy all day. The edge is gonna be taken off, but it's a lot. If you've experienced pharmaceuticals like Xanax, a microdose of mushroom is far smoother of a ride, is the right way to say it. It just takes the edge off. Like you don't have anger outburst. And that's what I specifically have. My issue is it leads to control. In the military, control is very important, and everything being squared away and on point, because lives are on the line. You're always training like you're in a firefight. You're training and you're preparing for the worst case scenario always. And when you come home and you have a family, drill sergeant CJ is not what the family needs. That's great if the world's burning and there's a firefight at my house. Like, great, like yell at them and get them moving. But when the chores aren't done right, or they're lacking in just the basic things in life, where you snap and you kind of go into that mode and throw a knife hand and get a little bit too intense, it makes that go away for me. And combined it with cannabis, and I microdose maybe weekly, maybe only once a month though. Maybe it just kind of varies. It's more setting for me. And I follow through with cannabis if I'm feeling like that's getting out of use. And then I also use non-psychedelic mushrooms. I use a blend of like lion's mane and Reiki mushrooms, because I really truly believe that those help continue those neural pathways that have been opened on your psychedelic experiences. And to end the stigma on it, you just go and you tell people, look, here I am operating at a very normal, highly intelligent level, doing my day-to-day job, leading, being the crew lead, being able to go speak diligently and DC and advocate for these things in Capitol Hill and have these conversations, well, under the influence, so to speak. Sure. But I'm far more spry and a better person than I am on pharmaceuticals. My daughter said it best when she was like 3 years old. I like daddy better after he goes off and has his medicine. And she was referring to the cannabis. You know, I'm not going to sit and smoke in front of my child. She understands what I'm doing. Daddy's going to have his medicine out in the garage, and daddy comes back in and his back's not as hurting. And he's down on the ground giggling and like watching, Frozen again for the 100th time, and being able to like
you need medication to get through that. Let's be honest. I got an 8-week-old girl. Man, I already told my wife we might as well start listening to it now. It's coming. So
yeah, be prepared. You'll know all those Disney songs over and over and over and over again. And it just, in my opinion, it makes you a better human being. You're just more compassionate and more kind. And
but again, it all comes down to responsibility. I mean, if you're able to be comfortable enough to take care of your family, you're not, like you said, you're not holding the front line. Like you're not looking to be. That's not where you need to be. This is a different hat you're wearing, and if your hat is best fitting when it's this hat right here, as long as you're able to do everything else, why are other people concerned about, hey, he's bad because why? It's just I'm really glad that you found that balance, and that your daughter, that you guys have that at 3 years old. That's awesome. Like the awareness to know, and for you to be able to have the confidence and understanding to be okay with that, and understand that, I'm the guy that needs to help other people realize that, because a lot of times last night I was reflecting on a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, holy shit. Like, it is so hard to actually just stop and think about what's actually right and not how does society see it. Like, it had never dawned on me that the media has such a control on legalization too, because if they would just cover, a veteran a week who's suffering and made the switch, cannabis would be legal. But they don't get paid to cover you finding relief from a plant. How are they making money? But now they've got contract, the Super Bowl ads. How much money is being paid to these networks that way? So it's just, we become accepting of these barriers that just keep getting built up to, it's got to be something above just common sense. It's got to be, you know what I mean? So it's neat that you've been able to find it, starting with your daughter. That's awesome, man. That had to be kind of like, just holy shit, I am. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. Again, I feel a lot of that from you, as far as, that's fucking awesome, man.
It definitely showed a path, and it's a moment that I'll never forget. And my daughter is 16 and knows how much advocacy work I do with Operation 1620 and Balanced Veterans Network. And she looks forward to the day when she can, join me on some of these other things. When we've done community events, which, not all of our stuff is cannabis related,
Sure.
to make that very clear, Balanced Veterans Network is a welcoming community, and we have family friendly stuff. My kid was out there and she's helped me set up the kids zone with coloring books and crayons and face painting and the whole 9 yards. So she benefits from this community as well, as does my partner. She finds support in other veterans' spouses who are going through some of the same struggles, because let's just put it nicely, we're not always the easiest people to deal with.
Sure. Well, we need to be accepting of that fact too, because again, it's a fact, and again, just like people who end up getting addicted to a hard drug, not to compare how you got there, somebody who's addicted to a hard drug or somebody who had the cojones to go serve and risk their life. When you come back, you don't want to have anger issues or PTSD. Like, I just feel like sometimes people get lost on, well, is it like, we need to respect people and put ourselves in their shoes. And especially if something simple can help them, we need to be more accepting as a society of that, and keep our pedal to the metal on getting that out there. It doesn't have to be the way that a lot of things are out there, which is essentially drinking's okay and anything else isn't. Are you guys? Oh shit, you're not Packer fans, are you?
Not this guy.
Oh, wrong side of the border here, boss. I'm a Bears fan. I'm your biggest rival.
We got Bears and Lions.
Born and raised in Northern Illinois here. But I'll tell you what, let's do some advocacy work. I want to see Wisconsin legal. I love north of the border. I love Wisconsin. You're the greatest folks ever until it's Sunday. And then,
That's fair. That's fair. But no, what I was going to say is, I don't know what it's like at Soldier Field. Have you been there, I assume?
Yeah, I've been there. Not in the last few years. I think last time I was there.
It's Soldiers Field, right?
Yeah, Soldiers Field.
Soldiers?
Yeah.
Or Soldier?
Right, Soldier. I don't know.
I was trying to be a dick, but now I don't even know what it is for sure. Shit.
I feel like I need to Google it. Now you got me thinking about it.
I don't know about you, but like, this is just real talk, and again, realizing we don't have to just accept shit the way it is. I haven't been to a Packer game in probably 5 years. I don't enjoy going to a Packer game with a bunch of fucking drunks. I've said it nicer than that in the past, but I'm just going to call it what it is. And it's just whiny and, oh, we didn't, how do you miss that guy? And, oh, and throwing beer, and like, it's the end of the world. Bro, I sit at home, I smoke a bowl, and I realize Jordan Love wants to make every pass, and he is very pissed off himself when he doesn't. Why am I going to sit back here and be like, dude, you suck, Jordan Love. How did you throw an interception? Oh, Jordan Love, you're hurt. What the heck? Why aren't you playing through it? Like, I just feel like if we could, concerts, events, like, people can enjoy what they're going to see a lot more if cannabis, or like, I would go to every Packer game if cannabis was there and not alcohol, because it would just be a chill vibe. It'd be like, hey, man, it's the Bears year, man. They haven't won shit in 100 years. Let them take it this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not calling out the Bears or anything. But you know what I mean? Like, but that is how I feel about the Lions. Like, are you a Lions fan, Gray?
Yeah, I am a Lions fan. I've always actually been a Denver Broncos fan since I was a young kid. But
how old are you? Like 34, 36?
35.
Bro, their logo. It was the logo when they switched to that logo and the Packers were playing them. That Bronco was dope, dude. I had a hat. I rocked that thing.
I think John Elway was what got me too. He was such a great quarterback, and I just loved watching that team. The year they went to the Super Bowl, it kind of captivated me. And after that, I haven't, really had the interest in sports like I used to. Because I think as I grew older, my interest grew away from sports and kind of more into the Project Triangle like topics. So I started using all my free time to really, focus on these topics and just learn and put my time into those. So that's my sports, and disc golf. So
right on. Hey, okay. Another real talk with Beans session here. I love disc golf because I get to walk through the woods. I love the woods. I love hunting. I love biking through the woods. I love four-wheeling. So I'm all about being able to go in the city, hop onto this little course, and it's going to be good no matter what. However, fuck trying to throw that frisbee at some of these distances bro, nah, that shit is just silly. And I swear there are just cameras out there and people are just watching us and laughing. Unless you guys are good. I don't get it, bro. I've tried everything and that thing ain't going more than 30 yards. I got an app. And even the app, bro, if you start at the thing and it's like, okay, you're starting, boop, and then I throw it and I go to it and it's like registered and it's like, did you throw it? I'm like, yes, I fucking threw it, bro. I just didn't go that far, like, I don't know. It shouldn't be as difficult as it is. Rant over. People are laughing at me in the comments. That's okay.
To me, it's not about that anyways.
What was that?
It's not about the score of the game anyways. For me, it's honestly, disc golf for me touches on our pillar of movement. One of our 5 pillars in Balance Veterans Network is movement. And whether I have a good score or not, most days I don't even keep score. I'm getting out to the woods, and sometimes I'd say 9 times out of 10, I'm making new friends out on the course if I'm playing by myself. And that brings in our other pillar of community. So I'm doing movement and I'm building a community, and 50% of the time I see another veteran. Yeah, and 50% of the time I see another veteran out there disc golfing, and then we build just a bigger community, and we build the disc golf community and Balance Veterans Network. So
that's awesome.
So Bobby, I got a pro tip for you. I'm going to add 10% to your throw right here. All you got to do is talk to me and get one of these discs, right?
Oh,
this will add,
don't mess around.
This will add seriously 10% distance to your throw. Okay. But it's my sales pitch,
right? Going for a minute. I'm like, maybe he's got some. It's like not league, bro. How do they sell golf? Rifle. These people that sell golf clubs and they're like, it's not tournament approved. I don't give a shit. You think I'm gonna be in a tournament? Just give me the goods. So I thought maybe you had something up your sleeve there, some special design you print out over there.
It is. It's the Tanner rifle. It gets you a little higher.
I would love to collaborate with you guys to figure out. So we have a website for Let's Legalize Wisconsin merch, and I get a lot of compliments on, and I love wearing your logos too. I think we should offer that, figure out a way to kind of collab on that too. I know people are getting a little more excited about wearing what they're proud of, and what better than cannabis veterans. Something we should keep in mind too. But somebody did point out, I don't know where the hell, when I was talking about we got to let the Bears win one. Yeah, the Bears, we should have said the Lions win, because I would say the Lions look pretty legit this year. The Bears, I was trying to remember the last time. I think Urlacher used to play for them, right? I think they were decent back then.
That was about the last time I really stayed up to date with them.
Okay, fair enough. No, I'm just giving you shit. I live in Green Bay, so I have to, that's why it's green and yellow, right? But they're one. If the Packers are listening, it's one hex numeral different than the Packer colors, so you can't sue me. So go away. We got disc golf is nice, says Zachariah. It'll make you at least 15% cooler as well, says Trevor. Philip says disc golf and a fat ass burrito after stoner mentality. Let's get it.
Yes, sir.
Eric says 4.20%. There you go. Doobie walks. Yes, I love dog walkers. I'm very much a lightweight, actually. In a little, we'll drop a little fucking truth on them, folks. Give you guys a little insight. We're working on a little pre-roll line. Nothing crazy. I'm not looking to get rich. I am looking for a little fundage, being that I have a kid now. So looking at doing a pre-roll to, and super clean labeling, just like a chill, and then to one that is going to lean a little more like focus. So not like this extravagant lineup, just a couple strains, but then also there would be like, I don't know what I'm going to call it, maybe the beanstalk or the bean pole or something, and it's going to be bubble hash infused.
Ooh, nice.
And I'm a lightweight, so I don't know about you guys, but I like the infused now that I understand I can use it, because I'll get like this dog walker, so it's like a half gram, I believe it is, and that fucker will last me 3 sessions, 3 nights of just like when I want to take the edge off, just take a couple hits, and then I don't have to smoke like half a joint. I'm kind of like, hey, I can get used to this. So, and is that similar to what you got with like your micro and your macro, as far as you're taking more, or I guess I'm just a little curious as somebody who's trying to gain understanding of psychedelics.
Yeah, it is similar in a way, because the more efficient the medicine, the less you have to use. And that's kind of the goal, is to use less medicine. That's, none of us want to be on 13 different medications a day. So the less medication you have to use, ideally, is better. And yeah, like you said, a microdose might be nice just to take the edge off at night. And you can tailor that to, if you want to have a heavier microdose at night because you're going to sleep, you can have a little heavier microdose, and maybe it will help with your sleeps or whatever. But absolutely, sourcing the cleanest, most pure medicine. It's like bubble hash. If you have a concentrate, which kind of with psychedelics, there's not really concentrates. You can make a tincture, which is more effective, or you can add citric acid to your psilocybin, which kind of makes it a quicker effect and things like that. But as far as the bubble hash aspect, you can just take another little microdose, and they kind of piggyback or daisy chain, so to speak. Is if you take a morning microdose and you realize that it's not really doing it, you can take one a couple hours later, and it's not going to get you that psychedelic effect, but it is going to get you more relief that you're looking for.
And in just listening to how you can explain that, because being a vocal part of a cannabis community, and a lot of that cannabis community being willing to try different kinds of natural remedies, I have a lot of folks that try psychedelics or micro or micro or macro. First of all, I'm just going to throw it out there, not trying to start World War II, but it wouldn't be a terrible idea if whoever's in charge of naming, if we didn't have macro and micro, just because if we're on a phone call and the reception's not good and we're telling our mom, okay, Mom, I know you're new to this. You want the meat, and then she thinks you said micro, but you said, you know what I mean? Just throwing that out there. But I've learned it with cannabis too, and I think it was just intensifies with the psychedelics. And to me, that is for somebody to really understand, especially somebody who has doubt or concerns. Well, I don't know. I'm gonna try this, but I don't know. How much it would help to be able to have somebody like you there to talk. It's not realistic that you could just go home and have Greg sitting next to you for an hour tonight, and then Greg the next night, and Greg the next night. But that's where that journaling, I really started to understand where journaling could be huge for especially a new cannabis consumer, but even an experienced cannabis consumer, and understanding, look at how strains affect you differently. And it's just, it brings in this next level of, especially with smartphones and stuff. But again, right now, cannabis and psychedelics are voodoo, so they can't even make apps about it. But a legitimate community based around, Greg, you give feedback on, what your dosage was of this combo of psychedelics and how it helped you here. I feel like there's this need for the community to be able to share that. Is that something you agree with?
Absolutely. And that's where I think the peer support in our community comes in play here, because there's a lot of us that have the knowledge, and it's not just myself. And I think the more that we spread the knowledge and share the knowledge with everybody, the more apt everybody is to be able to help everyone else. So it's kind of like a circle where everybody's holding hands, and we can, you share that information, and we grow our circle, and everybody kind of comes in. And everybody that needs help are in the middle of that circle, and we can kind of they can reach out to us for help and use us as a stepping stone or guidance per se. But I think it's very, very important that we have peer-to-peer support. And I'm a huge advocate for, microdosing. You can do it by yourself at home, and you can journal and you can figure it out. But when people are doing these macro doses, or here's another terminology for you, people call it hero dose. When you do a really big dose,
okay,
call it a heroic dose, because it kind of is you kind of have to have some sort of a mentality, knowing going in that this isn't actually going to be a fun experience. Sometimes these psychedelic experiences are not pleasurable, and you're actually working through some severe things. And I'm not saying it's uncomfortable physically, but you're going to be working through some things, and it's not always a pleasurable experience. But the end result is what you're actually looking for, and that's where it's coming in, and that's where the peer support comes in as well. These experiences, people need to know what these thoughts they had during an experience. And a lot of time I call it meaning making. Like, what does this mean? What does this mean in my psychedelic experience? So they can kind of rely on the community and people that have the experience and the knowledge and just overall have done research on the topics to give them the knowledge and help them work through their experience and what they were thinking about and what their experience was all about. Because a lot of times you leave these experience kind of like a puzzle that's been taken apart, put in a box and shooken up. And you just have to put all the right pieces back together. And what the psychedelics kind of do is take those old puzzle pieces that have gotten mixed in with this puzzle over time, and put the solid puzzle together for us. For and sure. The community definitely helps.
Right. And I think it's probably, it probably plays into too, like there's 100 different ways to put that puzzle together. And if you get hung up on, I need this next piece, and then you can't get to just moving on and coming back when the pieces dwindle. Like, yeah, it's just a lot of moving pieces. Do you guys have any kind of, currently, do you have any kind of like, and it's so hard to say like if this is the best route, but just because of how much misinformation can get put out there, but do you have like an online network where people kind of go on and share their experiences right now, or?
100%. Yeah. So I'll take this. First, I want to say real quick on what we were just talking about. Set and setting is very important with all these medicines, including cannabis, especially for a first-time user, as these people are experiencing the medicine, even in a microdose for cannabis. As you said, you can get greened out pretty easy. So just make sure you're in the right place. And that site set and setting can also affect how the cannabis affects you. So if you're in a place where you could already have anxiety, using cannabis may intensify it if you're unfamiliar with that strain. So make sure you're in the right place for that kind of experience, especially early on. It is very crucial. And as far as the community goes, so we are rolling out actual peer support groups, which are going to be better and inclusive. But we have our online community. It is based off Facebook right now. We did have an online community on our website, but we were having a lot of server issues and whatnot. So right now, the best place to find us is on Facebook. There is a closed veteran community group for Operation 1620 and for Project Triangle. And we're working on rolling out a Discord as well. So in these closed groups, we vet them as admins. We want to make sure that they are veterans in our group so we can have these discussions. And I mean, Facebook is a little bit of a censorship issue with certain things, but being that the group is closed and we make sure that it's all veterans, we don't get much stuff, nothing's really getting reported. We keep our P's and Q's in there, and that allows us to all have the community available. Greg might not always be next to you in person, but Greg or I or one of the other leaders or one of the other community members is usually always online. There's almost always somebody up tooling around. So if you're feeling like you need to reach out, you can find those platforms and those chats. And I try to have my phone on at most times and be available for these people. And it can be just as easy as having that fellow veteran, somebody, when we say we got your six, that continues to this day. And we all know that that's what makes this community a little bit unique, is we really have trust in one another because of our shared experiences.
That's awesome. And real quick, just to share with you, because if it's something you look into down the road, gentleman I knew in high school and really talked too much, popped up on the friends list here, added him, and I just noticed and just started talking to him. He actually developed the what do they call it nowadays? There's so many different terms, but so Weber Grills, he developed their smart interface for your phone, like the app and the website, and he got hired away to Google, and now he's at Google, but he's looking to do freelance work and essentially like anything digital that you can think of. And I'm working on him with a directory for trusted cannabis places in Wisconsin and for cannabis consumers to log in and share. So if there's anything that you had in mind, I could definitely get you in touch, see if there's a possible connection. Just seems like a very well versed. I feel like that's just a completely different language when it comes to trying to figure out online stuff and especially designing it. And I hate it. Like I hate making a social media post. So yeah.
I feel that.
You're right. Yeah. And the pressure, like, man, I haven't posted anything in 24 hours. What if they all leave? Like, I don't know. Then you start posting. It's like this. My wife, I wonder how many times a week I ask her, honey, what do you think of this? And then when she gives me her response, I'm always like, well, why do you think that? No, that's not what I meant. And it's just a whole thing. Looks like we got a couple. Let's make sure we're good here. Jennifer, love that you guys are promoting a healthy healing. I'm a sound healer veteran and pro plant and fruit veteran. I love when we pass on healthy habits to set folks up for success. Bravo, Zulu. That's awesome, Jennifer. We've got, what is it? Oh, it's a share. It must be a story or something that was shared in there.
Might be our group.
Oh, right on. Perfect.
Joan is one of our OG members here.
Okay.
One of the original Op 1620 members here out of Chicagoland.
Right on. Kristen says we aren't leaving till this shit's legal. There you go. I like that.
That's right. And we're going to be the voice up front. You know, one thing when we advocate as veterans, they seem to respect us a little bit more. We're not just some potheads on the street. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I've been a cannabis user since 1995. So it's been a long journey for me. I did some Madison rallies in the mid 90s. And I love going and advocating in front of our, elected officials, because as veterans, we have a loud voice and they seem to respect it. And we're going to get this legal everywhere. We're not stopping until it's done. And when it's legal, we're going to keep advocating and empowering and educating people on the use of this medicine and get everybody growing it themselves, because that's the ultimate way to heal.
Right on. And actually, you highlighted 1995. I think that's the last time the Bears beat the Packers, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably.
It's fucking good.
Nothing beats 1985, though.
Oh, yeah, here we go.
Bears.
I knew that was coming. No. Get you one or two more questions. Again, really appreciate your guys' time. And, just doing some self-reflecting and, like, how wholesome this conversation has been for me, too, because I have questions. I think you guys would, too, where it's like the like-minded individuals, there's just so many things we as activists or as promoters of something that's not the social norm completely yet, or however you want to word that, like, it is so I don't want to use it because it's not at all like when you go overseas and serve, but we are essentially locking arms here together. Like, I got your six, like truly, when I say, if there's anything I can do to help you guys get your message out there, if all I got to do is plug something in for you, or I'm already kind of trying to find avenues to break the mold of how you can get in touch with people about cannabis or that kind of stuff. So seriously, if there's something we can do to work together to educate, to share the message, please reach out. I want to do whatever I can to help you guys. And we're really appreciative of having you guys on here tonight. And I can tell by the comment section that is, it's not just me. 1.21 gigawatts. What the hell is James talking about now?
1.21 gigawatts.
What's he
That's
talking
the
about?
DeLorean, man. You got to hit, 88 miles an hour?
Yeah, okay. Get out of here, Eric. Trevor Schultz, what is the wind speed and velocity of an unladen African? What the hell? What do you guys know?
Yeah, you got some veterans in here playing games.
Oh, okay.
This is the E4 Mafia.
Okay, got it. That was a reply to Trevor Schultz. Got it. Yeah, it doesn't show me who's replying to who. I love growing your in-flower analysis, Heather. Right on. Let's get a couple more in here real quick, guys. We've got for veterans that are interested in alternative healing, how can they get started safely? Are there any key resources or guidelines you recommend? It sounds like a great start would be to reach out to you guys or to join that private network. Is there any other resources or guidelines that you recommend for folks that are interested?
I would say definitely the first step is joining our private network, so we kind of have a little bit more freedom to talk about certain things and figure out what area you're in. A lot of this stuff is going to be kind of what area you're in, so we can have a community that's close to you and figure out how we can, what works best for you, really.
Sure. And that's I think that's the approach you got to have, especially with people having ways that they understand things differently. And so make sure you check out the links. It was posted here in the comments. We'll kind of get a little profile page that we can share to the page as well for everybody. And maybe that's something that we can look at in the future. I'm working on building. I finally secured this battle I've been going through because nobody owned greenwi.org, but I couldn't buy it. And it was pissing me off. And to try and message who's the place where you're supposed to buy, I don't know. I don't understand how it was so difficult to just buy a domain or whatever the hell it's called. But I finally secured it, and I really wanted that because I feel like even me, the guy who forgets everything, literally everything, if I saw greenwi.org and I'm like, oh, I got to check that out, I feel like I might be able to remember that. So, short URL, and I want it to be a resource for anybody in Wisconsin looking for anything cannabis. So, whether that is talking about strains, talking about where to buy local, and it would be awesome to tie in. Also, if you're a veteran, here is the BVN. So again, I think we got a lot of awesome opportunities. Really glad that our paths crossed, and I think this might, if it's up to me, this is just the beginning of something really neat. And yeah, I'm really appreciative for you guys. I didn't realize we're already over the 1 hour mark, so I don't want to keep you guys any longer. If you guys had something though that you want to touch on that I didn't get a chance to bring up yet, or if anybody in the comments has a quick question, please make sure we get that end. Andy says, I love it. Let's share our knowledge. Right? Exactly. Super appreciative for these guys coming on. Great podcast. A couple of those in there. Did you guys have anything to add or any questions on how I can help you?
Yeah, I got one more thing I definitely want to mention that I forgot to mention. One of the biggest things that we at Balance Veterans Network do, and one of the key stones to the Operation 1620 platform, is if you are in a state where cannabis is medically available to you, reach out to our organization at www.balanceveterans.org. We have medical providers that work with us in most states where it's medically legal. And if you're recreational and medically, still get your medical card because we're going to save you on tax money. But our medical providers, my last medical appointment cost me $1. They had to charge us something. So $1 was the mark. And then we reimbursed the state fees. Okay. So we can break down that hurdle you have, especially in states like Illinois where the taxes are already so high. To spend the money to get to see the doctor and then to get the certification and then to pay the taxes, even with medical, it's an expensive medicine to have. We can help narrow that cost down. So definitely reach out. And if you are in a state that is medical and we don't have it set up yet, still reach out. We'll work to get it set up in your state. And as these new places come online, I think Nebraska just had some great changes in their laws, and hopefully Wisconsin, we can get you medical and recreational, and everybody can have their medicine soon. And as soon as that pops off, we'll be here to make sure that veterans have access to their cards.
Awesome. That's way cool. Very cool. Let me just post www.balanced, BALANCED, Veterans Network.org.
Yep.
All right. We're going to post that out here one more time. Make sure you give them guys a look and check out, share that link with anybody you know that could benefit from the awesome network that these guys are working on creating and making sure that it is available to those who need it. So, again, thank you guys for your service. Thank you for – it's balanceveterans.org. I threw the network in there.
And short for that is bvn.vet also works if you're trying to search it in short. So we have
look at us fellow domain buyers and smart people. Attaboy. All right, cool. Oh, there she goes. She posted it for us. Appreciate that. Well, thank you guys again very much for your time, for your service, and for what you're doing to help others. And let's stay in touch, and let's keep doing what we're doing. In any way we can help, please let us know over here.
Absolutely. And I just want to tell everybody, if you're a veteran out there, just never forget to stop educating, advocating, and empowering, because that's how we spread the word, and that's how we continue to grow our veteran community, and that's how we continue to help each other heal. So we're all here for each other.
Sounds like you always got somebody available in the BVN is what it sounds like to me. So appreciate that. If you guys want to stick around, we're going to do a quick outro video, and then I will just finish up with you guys. to everybody who stopped out tonight, thank you again. Appreciate it. And if you think we need to get these guys back on, let me know in the comments, and I will hound them until we get them back on. I think we can figure that out. So thanks, guys. Have a great evening. To the followers, we'll catch you next week. Otherwise, Bobby Beans, we're out of here, folks. Have a good evening. And the video to leave.